Welcome to Goat Talk Live here on Monday nights.
I don't know. I get a little tired of hearing, right?
The 99 is terrible. Here, I'm lacking for some reason. It's real white and flabby.
Every week, every day, I'm on here doing GLR stuff, you know.
Eddie, I tell everybody to listen that we're a really big deal.
Continues to grow and grow and grow.
Well, all right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Goat Talk here on Monday night here on V-Speed. I'm Eddie Smith, your host with the most, and Jacob Ellington, my co-host here tonight. And boy, we are ready to get this thing rolling. How you guys doing tonight? We got Lucas Lyons as our guest tonight. Glad to have him. And sorry, trying to get this off of here so the viewers aren't hearing it. We're just completely screwing up right now, which is what we love to do. So we'll keep doing that over and over again. But all right, guys, Jake, Lucas, how we doing tonight? Y'all feeling good?
Doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good. Happy to be on Go Talk for again this week, and happy to have Lucas join us for this week's segment.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm excited to be here, and yeah, I'm ready to get into it.
All right. Well, I got the sound issue figured out. Sorry about that, guys. It just I sit here for 30 minutes and still have issues, but that's part of it. Well, we're glad we're gonna be a good show. We got a lot to do, so we're gonna go ahead and jump right on through it. And so really good races this week. Obviously, we always start off with what's going on in Goat Locker Land. And well, Jake, I think you've got some stuff coming up. We got the National FFA Convention with Lincoln Tech on October 23rd and 24th, so just a couple of days from now. And then they're going to be at Cruising Classics on November 1st, and then Nasties on November 2nd. And I think Pat's going to be doing something during the halftime show of the Ohio State game. So a lot of fun stuff coming up. You got any cool behind the scenes details about that, Jake?
Nothing behind the scenes that I know of. I'm definitely going to be at the Nasties event. I'm bringing Papa Ellington down along with my daughter, and so we can have some fun down at Nasties, and everybody who's there can meet Dad in the flesh, and we'll have some drinks and hopefully have a good time. Yeah,
it's exciting. Are they taking the sim to all three places? Is that what they're doing? The trade sim and all?
Yes. The simulator will be set up. I'm not sure if Pat's gonna bring the GLR car along with him, but I definitely know the simulator is going to be in heavy use between the FFA convention, Cruising Classics, and Nasties.
That's cool. Well, yeah, if you're in the Indianapolis area or in the what city in Ohio?
Hilliard,
Ohio. If you're in that area, hell, if you're just anywhere in that 5-state area, might as well drive over, meet the Goat Locker guys. It should be a lot of fun, especially at Nasty's Restaurant Bar. I wish I could go over there and have a pretty good time. But yeah, so yeah, pretty got a lot going on with the Goat Locker. Of course, one thing that we always kind of do here for this month is talk about the Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So we'll jump right on through that. We've kind of talked about it, but you can see there 1 in 8 women in the United States is diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime. So October, pretty much across the board, is always Breast Cancer Awareness Month. That's why we're all pinked out here on the Goat Talk, and you'll see some guys with pink cars, pink trucks out there on the track. So love to see that kind of everybody coming together. And I mean, any chance, Lucas, that you can paint a car, you take at any time. You guys that do a lot of painting, y'all seem to always find an excuse to have some sort of new paint job every week.
I mean, I'm just gonna say this personally. I love black, pink, and white on a paint scheme. So especially in October, that you just have to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the pink window nets they did in NASCAR. I thought that was really cool. So always cool to see that kind of support across the board. Somebody in chat says pink is the best color anyway. I can't disagree. I think pink looks pretty good sometimes, especially on a car. So but what's going on? Y'all have a good day today. Lucas, you had some car trouble, it seems like, but that's how dedicated you are. You're able to make it back to Goat Talk.
Yeah, just life happens, and I'm glad I was able to make it back.
Yeah. Well, Jake, what you got going on today?
Just work and running around the kids, everywhere. Took my oldest stepdaughter to a concert she had at school. Got to go pick her up sometime after this, whenever she decides she wants to come home. But other than that, just kind of relaxing and figuring things out for Go Talk.
Yeah, Monday nights are now pretty busy for me. I was excited to be off. I had broadcasts on Monday nights for a long time, and I was like, "Oh, cool! I'm going to be off now for for Mondays." Nope, here's a Goat Talk, and it's been a lot of fun though. I made that intro today and got to have a lot of fun, kind of going back watching the early episodes. We're 8 episodes in the old days of Goat Talk, but it was cool to go back and watch, and I think it's been a lot of fun so far. So I enjoy it every week, and I mean, I guess if you make an intro for it, I guess it's we're here to stay. So I don't know. Goat Locker is obviously going to carry on for a while. Goat Talk, I don't know. I feel like I'm struggling to find the identity of it. I do like going through the series every week, and I think guys who are a part of those series like to hear it talked about. But be interested to see where it goes from here. Now I'm kind of excited to see what the evolution. I'm from Mississippi. We don't know much about evolution, but I don't know what the evolution will be like with Goat Talk. But I hope y'all enjoy it. I haven't really heard any feedback from anybody that watches or goes back. So obviously, if you guys have some feedback or something that you want or something you think doesn't go well, we'd love to hear it. That way we can kind of tailor it. It's for Goat Locker, so it's for you. So we'd like to hear your thoughts and opinions about it. But Jake, like we said last week, you're going to be sort of the staple co-host. You even had a part on the intro that has your name on it. So I guess, do I have to pay you now that your name's on the intro? I don't know. You've got. Do I have to pay you or what?
No monetary gains are gonna be needed, but I definitely just the privilege of being here and having a good time with you on the show every week is payment enough. I can't believe how far Goat Locker has come in the endeavors from when we first joined up with Pat and Jamie, and now we have a podcast, nonprofit. 5 series running. I mean, things in GLR have just exploded and continue to explode. Many bigger different things are coming, and I can't wait for Pat and Jamie to announce those in the future.
I'll say this from a personal standpoint, just as someone who races in here. There was one season I came and it was kind of small, and I went somewhere else, and I came back, and y'all have done just a tremendous job at like expanding and everything. Everything you all do is just phenomenal.
Yeah, I think it just takes good people, man. I mean, Pat and Jamie, they believe in what they're doing, and they don't give up when things aren't maybe as peachy or whatever. And now they're reaping the benefits where they have a extremely healthy league. I said this a couple weeks ago. I don't know of a league that can sustain 5 series, much less have them be 20 to 25, sometimes 30 plus cars in the field. I mean, we had a truck series where I think there was like 25 guys at Watkins Glen at a road course, and you just don't see that.
Nope.
It's pretty wild, huh?
It's definitely wild, and to have average fields of 25 yeah, at every track and in every series. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this week's racing has been really good, so we'll get to all that in a moment. But we got Lucas in here. Of course, that's what we're going to do. We're going to have a co-host situation. That way we can just focus on one person. And obviously the guest is to offer perspective, offer thoughts and opinions, and just let you kind of bring your own, let yourself out there, put yourself out there, whatever. But we do want to get to know you a whole lot better. We race against each other, but we don't always get to spend a lot of time hanging out, getting to know folks. So as we've done all this whole season of podcasts, we've kind of talked to the different drivers, and if this could be any wordier, that would probably be pretty good. So Lucas, we'll jump right in. Tell us a little bit about yourself, as much as you want to share. Where are you from? What exact street location do you live? What's your house number, zip code, all of that. But no, let us know where you're from. How old you are. What do you do? That type of stuff.
Well, I'm actually from where both Daryl and Michael Waltrip are from. I live in Owensboro, Kentucky. I'm 23. I've been sim racing ever since February of 2021. And the first NASCAR game I ever played was actually the old EA NASCAR games of 2003. I would play that like nonstop. And I dabble in like all kinds of racing, whether it's rally, rallycross, drifting, just the whole shebang. If it has a motor, I'm probably playing it.
Yeah. So anyway, so you're from Kentucky. You kind of took all my questions and put them into about 3 sentences. Wow, you're way better at that than you just knew what was coming. But so you started with you said the EA NASCAR 2003, like Thunder, or the one before that.
No, Thunder.
Oh, you started with Thunder.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I booted up. I don't know. Have you played that game in a while? Because I booted up NASCAR Race in 2003 a few weeks ago and got everything hooked up and raced a couple races. And it's definitely a throwback to go back and race those, especially the ones that came out on consoles. Those are wacky and crazy. They're obviously catered to. I think NASCAR '98 had a paintball mode where you can shoot paintballs out of the front of the car. So. Have you gone back and played those at any point in time?
It was probably about 2 years after sim racing. I was like, you know what? I haven't played this game in a while, and I went back to NASCAR Thunder, and I just couldn't stay on the track anymore. It's came such a long way. It's shocking to me, just like how realistic it is now, and it feels a lot more smoother and less clunky.
Yeah, for sure. I even NASCAR Racing 2003, which iRacing's based on, you get on there and try to race, and I'll tell you what, I was going down the corner and just completely wrecking it with my wheel and stuff. It was unbelievable. It was very difficult. Of course, the AI is really, really tough to race against in that game. You go to one track and they'll pull away from you. You go to the next and you'll lap the field. So it's definitely cool how far they've come. I've raced tons of NASCAR games back in the day, and it's pretty amazing. I don't know. It seems like they've gotten easier because it's gotten more realistic, and so in your brain, I think you kind of expect the car to do this thing because you see it happen in real life, and we can almost replicate it now.
I would definitely agree because playing with joysticks on a controller, you just can't get the same feel with your feet and the wheel and everything like that. Like, especially if you have a butt kicker,
Yeah. Well, you would have loved it back in the day. I know Jonah Colbert, who we haven't seen in a while, but he used to be over here at Goat Locker and stuff. He used to paint cars for NASCAR Heat back in the day. There used to be a website called highcompression.com, and they would put out all the car sets every single year. So I'll tell you what, while small, the NASCAR, fan base community's always supported the different racing games and stuff out there. So it's always had pretty massive following, at least for the NASCAR fan base. But iRacing right now is the GOAT at the moment. And we'll see what this NASCAR game is that they're putting out. It's supposed to come out, next year, 2026?
Honestly, I have no clue. I'm the wrong guy to ask about that. I want to say it was late 2025,
Yeah.
but I could be wrong. I don't know.
Well, people have always kind of loved the Dirt to Daytona series. People, when I hear folks, everybody's got their own favorite games. You've got the NASCAR Total Team Control that people liked, and like the '05, I think, or '06. And then you've got the Dirt to Daytona, which I think people really love that. So I'm interested to see where iRacing goes with this to do a console game. It'll be interesting for sure. But I mean, I think the NASCAR license has been really wasted over the last probably 10 years. So I'm really glad it's in somebody's hands that can do something with it. And maybe we'll get a really good game where you can kind of imitate real life. But I think iRacing does a pretty dang good job as it is. But all right, well, Lucas, what, you've been around for a while. When did you first join Goat Locker? I have a hard time remembering.
I want to say it was when Jonah was racing, and I would run ARCA with him for a little bit. And so I want to say it was either late 2023 or early 2024. But no, late 2022 or early 2023. And then I found another league I wanted to run in that overlapped with Goat Blocker. And I went over there for a little bit, and I came back, and man, I can't give everyone over here enough credit on how much it has grown since the short time I've been gone. Like it is absolutely unreal, and I'm glad I came back. The racing over here has been amazing, and I enjoy being here. And my favorite thing that we have added recently is the Soapbox channel. That is by far my favorite thing we have ever added.
Yeah. Well, it's a safe space for those to kind of let it off, let the steam off and not have any kind of, repercussions really. I mean, it gets pretty wild in there, but that's it's good to have that, I think. And obviously it's been good for me. I'm happy to have it as well. So, but yeah, I think this season has been pretty incredible. And what I love about Goat Locker is the wide range of skill levels. You've got the really, really fast guys, and obviously most series have very few repeat winners. And but then you have the guys who maybe run towards the back, and most people embrace them. You know what I'm saying? Every once in a while, you have somebody new that comes in that has an issue with a guy that's still learning. But overall, I think the support for Doug Ellingson, for Josh Unger, these guys that are new and just trying to learn and get going, has been pretty positive. And I think, people come to their defense when somebody pops off at the mouth and be like, hey, what are you doing? No, don't do that. And I think that's a testament to the community. I love that we can have a wide range of skill levels where, I can come in, and if I'm 5,000, I rate, and I can race in Goat Locker. If I'm 800, I can race in Goat Locker. And it's a beautiful thing.
And another thing I really enjoy about this community is how much we're willing to help other people. Like if some people need help at certain tracks, they're more than willing to go to general chat and be like, hey, like I need help here. And then not even like 5 minutes later, someone else will come and be like, hey, I'll help you what time. Like me and you can set up a practice session and run together. It's absolutely unreal how like tight knit this community is over here.
Yeah. Well, no doubt about that. Well, let's move on to a new segment that we've got going on this week. So I hope y'all are prepared. And I like this. I don't know where this came from or who made this up. But I like to, I want to do this every single week. And because I think the broadcast, this is me talking too much, but just explaining what it means. It's very simple. We're going to call it, let's go ahead and get the graphic up. I guess instead of running my mouth, I can put the graphic up. Goat of the week is what we're doing now. From here on out, every guest, me and Jake are going to have somebody that's the goat of the week. And what we're kind of focusing on is, this is not who won the race. They get the interviews after the race. They get the screen time on the broadcast. What we want to highlight is somebody who went above and beyond, either through their racecraft, how they acted after a race, all kinds of examples. It's really up to the person who's given the goat of the week, but we want to highlight our members who are, doing extra stuff on the side, or just being just great people. And so that's something that we're going to be doing each and every week. So go to the week, Jake Ellingson. You lead off here tonight. Who you got for a go to the week?
My go to the week is going to be George Jewell. He is one of the most silent supporters of GLR in the community here. He races in all 5 series. To kind of put that in perspective, we've ran 35 races so far this season. He's made 31 of those races. And he has had a tough season so far. With an average throughout all the series, he's at an average finish of 13th through every series. So he's kind of had a rough season, along with myself. So I kind of feel for him, but he takes his hits on the nose, and then he drives on to the next week. If he would stay out of trouble, and not get into them wrecks, I'm pretty sure that average finish would be a top 10 extremely easily. His highest finish is third in the Sunday Invets Truck Series. He finished third at Dover, and he was ecstatic in his interview just to be here. And I couldn't be happier to have him as my go to the week.
Yeah, well, I think that's a good one, and to kind of piggyback off what you said, George has gotten a lot better in the last season. Like, he has really started to move up the field, and I think getting in wrecks, being more aggressive is part of that process of you've got to be aggressive to win. I mean, Lucas knows all about that, and you have to push the limit. You have to take extra chances, and during that process of learning that and getting better, you're going to have some bumps in the road. But there's no doubt about it that George Jewell is a winner. He's going to be contending for wins if he's not already every single week. I mean, he ran third, I think, for a while there. He's up in the top 5 in the ARCA race towards the end of that one. So I definitely would like to second that. George has definitely improved, and of course he's always got a pretty good fan base in the chats during the broadcast. Lucas, who you got for the GOAT of the week?
Well, real quick, I'd like to third that, because, like, I mean, he races extremely clean and everything, and George, he's that one guy that really doesn't take it to heart, but, like, he on the racetrack he does still take it very seriously. And I can't recall one outburst George has ever had when we've all raced together. But I'm
gonna cut you off real quick. I will say this: George Jewell is the one and only person that I've ever messaged behind the scenes to tell him to stay and not leave. That's how much respect I have for George Jewell. I've definitely whispered him and said, "Don't quit. You've got the opportunity for playoffs." Last season he got frustrated at the end of a race, and I said, "Please don't quit. You're worth keeping around 100%." So anyway, sorry.
He definitely is. But my go of the week is gonna be Chance Taylor. It's kind of about the same thing as George Jewell. He races extremely clean in all the series I race with him. I want to say I've raced with him in about 4 of them, and I've never ran into an issue with him in all the races me and him done together. And he's sitting pretty good in points in a majority of them, and he's definitely picking up momentum. And I'm really excited to see how the rest of the season goes for him. And I think he's going to be up there contending for a lot more wins than he has now.
Yeah, I like that pick. Chance Taylor. He is. I seem to say his name a lot when we're broadcast, especially on Tuesday nights. So he's a good one. Well, my GOAT of the week is Daniel Kirkiel. And it's fairly obvious because that man is doing a lot of work. He is doing a lot of work behind the scenes, a lot of that thankless work that nobody is ever going to sit here and say thank you. But I'm going to right now and say thank you, Daniel Kirkiel, for doing all of the work that he did. The drivers meeting, he's running race control. I'm sure he'd love to be out on track racing, but he is, taking it on himself to be race control, do the points behind the scenes, do a lot of the invites, and that's got to be probably the most frustrating part of running a league, is not just doing points but also handling numbers and sending invites on the everybody always waits to the last minute, and he does it and does a great job. So Daniel Kerkeel is my GOAT of the week.
I'll definitely second that one, Eddie. I wasn't on the phone. I was on the phone with him probably no less than an hour ago, giving him a laundry list of things that to get taken care of for the end of the season type stuff. So that man's a workaholic. I definitely couldn't keep up with everything without him. As being the right hand man to myself. Dan's just a phenomenal person, and he takes each and every task and he gets it done without question and in a timely manner. I mean, that guy's just a machine.
Yeah, and those I'm gonna say something here. It's these kind of guys are not appreciated enough. You guys better appreciate them, because when they're gone, you'll feel it, and that's something that. I always remember, especially if you're getting in there and he's running race control and you're arguing with him by decision he's make, probably don't want to do that. Let's leave him alone with these guys who are putting in all the work. Let's leave those guys alone. Let's let his rule be that, because he is he's doing a lot of work, and we want to keep folks like that who are taking time out of their lives. He's not getting paid to do it. He's taking time out of his day and his time in his life to add to the league that you love so much. So. I encourage other people to step up, do the same thing. People come and go. Pat, Jamie, Jake, and the rest of the bunch, they're going to stick around, but a lot of guys come and go. And, hey, if you want to be a part of something, definitely step up. Daniel Kerkeel is definitely taking that on. Timothy Jones as well, and plenty of others do things, but Daniel Kerkeel is definitely kind of taking the ball and just ran with it. Definitely done a fantastic job. So can't say enough how much we appreciate what he has done. But that is a GOAT of the week. We'll do that every week. We'll shout out everybody, kind of like the veteran spotlight, but for non-veterans, I guess is what that is, sort of. So just kind of shout out. Jake, you got some nice some clothes on tonight. What's going on with that t-shirt?
I had a nice, wonderful T-shirt made for the 99 is terrible.
You never know what you're gonna say that's gonna turn into something, and I never thought, to kind of give inside baseball. It just hit my head. It wasn't written in a Discord when I did the first soapbox thing. It wasn't in the Discord at all. I just wrote that down because I thought it was funny. I didn't want it to all be upset, mean comments. So a little inside baseball. Some of these I make up on my own, but not many. I haven't done that in a while, actually. But the 99 is terrible. It's not something that anybody actually wrote, just something that came out of my noggin. So Brandon Wallace can blame me because nobody else typed it. But speaking of, we do have some soapbox this week. That's what we're going to call it, the soapbox segment. It seems like the name's going to stick. I could name it anything, and I think it's going to be the soapbox. So we got to jump in the soapbox tonight. It's going to be a pretty good one. We had some good stuff, and a lot of this is coming from the Cruising Classics Next Gen series in Atlanta. So we'll see. Yeah. This it should be pretty interesting. Let's see. I got to get in character. Show how much skill you have, and according to y'all have no skill. You fondle nuts more than making a smart move on the racetrack. Want to go run a hosted, Mr. Big Dick Larry? Crazy that you have to wake up and go to homeroom tomorrow. You typed for a really damn long time for that to be the outcome. The 99 is terrible. Dude probably still reads with his finger, though. Like, y'all can run good at a super speedway that anywhere else where it takes skill, like, I never see you, so STFU or keep talking, you sound stupid. Verbatim, by the way. I'm reading these verbatim. Careful, guys. He's got a 4,800 I rating. We're all inferior. This kid thinks he's Dale Sr., but drives like Danica Patrick. Gonna be slow some more? It's a school night. Buddy needs to get tucked in. Maybe the Wednesday series would be a good series to drop. '99 is terrible. I gave you and driver A the outside and then fucking doored me. You're a complete piece of shit and shouldn't have been a stain on a $15 motel wall. God. I didn't read that one. Excuse me. 2 nights in a row this little dickhead does this shit and nothing. Fucking over it. Maybe know what you're talking before you start talking. Sure would like to know who the smart mouth was that told me to get off the track, but I doubt you're man enough to step up and say who you are. The 99 is terrible. Well, that was some good ones this week. That was a soapbox, and you know, it's we're gonna bring it to you every week. And there's plenty to go back from. I can go all the way back for many months and find more and more of those comments just like that. And we love it, though. That's a part of it. It's something weird about sim racing where, you know, in competitive gaming, it just across the board, people just get upset. And Discord, you know, you used to have to send letters. You know what I'm saying? You used to have to get mad at somebody at the racetrack, you know, at the horse track, and you'd have to send a letter, and they'd have to get, you know, it'd take 2 or 3 weeks. You weren't mad anymore. But nowadays, just like any social media, as soon as you get off the track, you can get right on Discord, be typing and getting all mad. And so it happens, but it's always good to kind of read those. Sometimes we all just have a good laugh. So, like I said, don't take it seriously. It's just for fun. And it's going to be this guy one week, and it might be you next week. Whoever's listening and laughing, going, man, I would never do that. Better be careful. You posting that soapbox, I'm going to get you. So, hey,
I'm just glad I finally made it onto the soapbox. I've been trying so hard.
And that's the best part. You know, that real talk, that's the best part. I told Pat and Jamie, I said, here's 1 or 2 things going to happen with this. Either one, people are going to stop bitching in Discord. But Jamie said it himself. He said, yeah, people are not going to stop bitching in Discord. And I said, you're right. And so I said 1 or 2 things going to happen. They're either going to just kind of embrace the soapbox, which they have. Or, you know, people will try to be funny and come up with things that they think might make it on the podcast. So it works out great. Any of those options, and I'll take those.
I mean, most of the time we just sexually harass each other in there. I mean,
yeah.
That's basically what it's come down to.
Yeah, there's $15 motel wall I wasn't expecting there. I don't know.
I wasn't either. That broke character for me.
Yeah, that one got me. I didn't read that one all the way through when I was putting them in. All right, well, let's move on to the series. We'll jump right in and kind of talk through these, and maybe we'll make the hour mark. I think we're making good time here, so let's go ahead and jump. Now, I do have videos this week. I did take a little bit of time to get some finishes, so we'll jump right in. So we'll start with the Xfinity series, and we'll show you the finish right here, and we'll see how it ended, and then we'll kind of talk about it a little bit. Garner almost sideways, trying to drive it deep into the corner. They are still side by side. White flag is out. One more lap to go. Can Tanner Bethea do anything with those old tires? Gets to the back bumper of the 69, gives him a shot. He's going to have one more opportunity. Slides off the corner. That may have been it. Drives it deep into the corner. Can't make it happen. Off of turn 4. Jeremy Garner is going to win here at Richmond. Tanner Bethea comes home in second. Great effort by the 20, and Jamie Barkus going to come home with the third position. What? All right. Well, the Tuesday Xfinity Series was at Richmond this week. I'm not a big fan of Richmond at all, but this race was good. I think there at the end you saw Gardner make the pass for the lead. He had much fresher tires than what the guys around him had. I think he had 20 laps better than Tanner there. And Tanner, honestly, throughout that whole race, him and Jeremy Garner were kind of the class of the field. They were two drivers that really set themselves apart. They were pulling away from the field, running side by side, which is pretty incredible. So those guys had the field covered as far as speed, and it just came down to pit strategy at the end, and Garner was able to get the win. 121 laps, just 6 cautions, not too bad for Richmond, I don't think, and 4 lead changes. So, well, both of you were in this race. Lucas, I think he left a little bit early, but Jake, we really should have talked about this in the BS session, but let's, you know what? Sometimes it's good to talk it out. They say go to therapy and you get your problems out there, and that helps. So let's let this be the therapy session tonight, Jake, to get you back on the right track. You've had a tough few weeks of races, and obviously, it's a mental thing that you have to get out of sometimes. We hear about NASCAR drivers getting into slumps, having issues. So, we got to get you out of there. We got to dig down deep and pull you out, and we're going to do that here tonight. So, this race though wasn't great for you. So you hadn't come out of the gutter yet. But what happened to you in this race?
I think I got loose coming out of 2, and I just rode the inside wall a little bit. And by the time I got to the pits, and I was already a lap down by the time I got to the pits, and then it said I had wheel damage, so I assumed I was going to have a couple minutes of required repairs, and hopefully a few cautions would have gotten me back on the lead lap. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. The hit was a lot harder than it looked from my perspective, and I ended up with like 15 minutes of required repairs, and kind of put me at a disadvantage, and I parked it for the night there. But overall, the car in and of itself at Richmond drove kind of loose to begin with. It was pretty sketchy coming out of 2. Really had to have a lot of throttle control coming out of that corner, and I just I broke the egg too early, and paid for it in the end.
Well, do you think your issues, Jake, have been just trying hard to get out of the slump, or do you think it's just bad luck all the way through? I mean, do you feel like, because I've raced with you for a long time, so, and both of you, I know your tendencies. When you race around each other, you know your tendencies, and I know, Jake, that you kind of get into your own head. I don't think there's any doubt about that, where you kind of get into your own head and you start to maybe doubt yourself, or either try to drive hard to make up for something. You're definitely extremely fast. You win races in this series. You're locked in with a win, so you don't need a win. Do you think it's you just trying to break through that? What do you think it is?
I definitely do put a lot of pressure on myself to do well every single week. I expect top 5s out of myself in each and every single race that I put myself in. And a lot of times it pans out, but lately it hasn't been panning out, and I think I just got to take that step back and go back to the mentality that I had before, where qualify 7th, I just got to finish 6th. Qualify 6th, just got to finish 5th. Just trying to get back into that mentality of just finishing one spot ahead of where I qualified in, and we can see what we can do from there.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times you win in those type of, you start driving like that, you come away with the win. You're like, oh, okay, well, I mean, we know you got plenty of speed. You're gonna make the playoffs in Tuesday Xfinity. Hey, I think we're all cheering for you, man. I think nobody wants to see anybody struggle and have a tough time. So I think we're all kind of cheering that you get the train back on the tracks, and of course you did at the end of this week. So we'll kind of cover that. Lucas, oh, sorry, go ahead.
The definite goal for Xfinity is to try to repeat last season. I definitely want to do that. It'd be the only repeat. Well, I shouldn't say repeat. The only back-to-back champion, if it happens. So that's definitely the goal, and we'll try to see what we can do.
Lucas, would ask you about the race, but you quit about 20 laps in to go race in another series, so we're all real offended by that. But if you want to tell us about your 20 laps, how was the car driving?
I'll say it was really loose. And thanks for being that little devil in my ear. By the way, I did have the broadcast up, just so you know.
What I say? I don't know what I say. I'm like Rod Burgundy. I just read the teleprompter. I don't know what it says.
You were like, Lucas, you don't have to go balls to the wall every lap. You're something along those lines. Just tell me not to burn my stuff up. And
I do that a lot when you're in the races that I broadcast.
You do it all the time, dude.
Because I know how fast you are, and I know you. I like I said, I know Jake's tendency, but I know yours way better. Which is, I'm gonna go up there. I have to lead. I've got to get up there and lead. I gotta go as fast as possible to get up there. And you get up there and you burn your tires up and you fall back to fifth at the end of the first run. You do it every single race, and at some point you just, like I said, I'm not a sociopath. I want people to do well, and when I think they've got speed, and I sometimes through the broadcast I project a little bit and say, hey, look, wrangle it back just a little bit, and you'll be there. So I didn't know if you was listening on the broadcast, but why do you do that? I'm going to put you on the spot. I've said it 1,000 times on the broadcast. I say, don't push so hard. You've got plenty of speed to make it, and yet you do it every week. What is it, Lucas?
I just want to go fast. That's all I want to do. I'm over here drinking Mountain Dew Baja, like I'm jacked up like a spider monkey, but
has he got the shakes? Just like, I gotta go.
Literally, I'll be in a race and I'll literally like be sweating. I'll be drenched in sweat like after a race. It's just you can ask Daniel this, because me and Daniel, we race on a voice channel all the time. If I beat myself up in practice saying that I am going to do bad, I always do good. And when I circle a track, I always do really bad in that race. It's just, I honestly don't know. I think I've tried everything, but I have Jonathan Cofield on my team, and I'm trying to take some numbers out of his book and try to apply it to mine. But it's just, driving styles are so different, and I just like going fast. That's the best answer I can give you, Eddie.
I mean, you haven't tried one thing though. It's called backing up the corner.
Hey, I mean, also apparently I can't say gas either. So, but we'll get into that later.
Well, I guess whenever I think about your races and what you do, I'm always just kind of like, if you just back it up just a little bit, you're going to run second and third, and you're not going to burn your tires. You would think every single race, you burn your tires up after 25 laps, you fall back to sixth. I figure at one point you kind of go, all right, I think I'm running too hard. This guy that normally beats me, I'm passing him on lap 4. Maybe I should back it down a little bit. And I'm waiting. It's coming. It's coming, Lucas. I've seen your type 1,000 times. And I've been on iRacing since 2009. And I was you. And I've seen, I don't think it has anything to do with your youth. I think people will point out, say, you're a young fella, so that's what young dudes do. But I've seen this 100 times. Jacob Ellingson's one of them. It was not knowing how to harness that and how to get that full long run speed, but also be fast at the beginning, which I know you can do it. But I just always laugh because Lucas goes right up to the front as soon as possible, up to the outside, burning his tires up, and then 4 or 5, 15 laps later, he's back in 6 and tires are burned up. And he's going, "Oh, Eddie, I burnt my tires up." Like, yeah, I know. I told you on the way up there. So maybe we'll have some real nice intervention. We're going to get Jake out of his slump here tonight. We're going to get Lucas to get to the long run with the lead and not lose it. I think we're going to get there tonight. But yeah, it's funny. Racing on a computer. Wow, we're really going to get boring here, but I love this topic. Philosophies of racing, which is something that they do in real life, but it's so interesting how in iRacing that is a big deal. Everybody's got their own philosophy, and there's not just one type that works. There has been times that Lucas' philosophy works in his favor. You put him against Daniel Cunningham, who we had on last week, and we talked about his inability to be good on a restart. He's just like, I'm not good there. But you put Lucas Lyons with fresh tires on a green, white checkered, if he's my driver, I feel like I have a pretty good chance to win. So philosophies always kind of work out in different the scenarios play out in different ways, but everybody's got their own philosophy. Some guys think you can't go 3 wide at Talladega, and they're like, my philosophy is I'm going to just turn into you and wreck because you went 3 wide. So everybody's got their own feel. But it's funny how that definitely plays in how you race, how you, race others and all that kind of stuff. But I don't want to get into a philosophy conversation, but it's always interesting to hear everybody's different perspective of how they want to race. And there's no right or wrong way usually, especially if you're winning. So, and you guys are all winners. So, obviously what y'all do is right. Well, let's talk a little bit about the point standings here in the Xfinity Series, and we'll get Jake over here where we can see his face. But Kostick has the top spot at the moment. Him and Cody McElwain. There you are, Jake. You've got that win. Andy Kurtz and Chris Sawyer. These are the guys that are eligible. Gardner, I think that was maybe the 1 or 2 races he's actually run, so he's not eligible. But there's your playoff standings at the moment. Excuse me. And I don't know what jumps out at y'all from those standings, but just by looking at them.
One race can change that cut line in a real big hurry. Even Chance Taylor, Bobby Jermaine, Lance Ripka, Tyler Justice, Travis Beaver, all them guys are right there, and one wrong race in these next 3 races can really change that and flip that upside down.
Yeah,
and
go ahead, Lucas.
Go ahead. Well, building off what you said, they're all really fast guys too. So I mean, it's definitely not going to be easy for them to get the 3 or 6 points that they need to get in. But I mean, just one bad race, that's all it takes. Whether it's just a slight wall contact from a small mistake or getting caught up into a wreck. I mean, it's just, I don't know.
Well, what you can't see there is that you've got 7 different winners. Kyle Holden won, and then Jeremy Garner. So you can't see those guys. But then you look at the ones who have yet to get a win. Daniel Cunningham's 45 points above the cutoff. That tells you how good he has been and consistent. And then Patrick Dravick. I mean, he had dominated a race a few weeks back and had a connection or some sort of weird PC issue that lost him the race, the one that Kyle Holden won. So these guys are incredibly talented. So it is possible, and I would say it's really possible at the moment that we see 9 or 10 different winners. We might see 10 winners across all 10 regular season races. It's definitely possible. I can see Patrick Dravick going out there and winning this week, tomorrow night. Jamie Barkas, Cunningham, obviously, and then you got Isaac Taylor, Bobby Jermaine, and Ripka. Ripka has been really, consistent and good. So I know he can get up there and do something. And maybe somebody else, any one of those drivers can do something too. So I don't know. This particular series kind of hard for me to pinpoint of who's the favorite. I don't really know if there is a favorite at the moment. Cunningham really has been the most consistent, even though he hasn't gotten a win. He's sort of the most consistent driver. So I'm waiting on him to finally get that win. And kind of go ahead and get that monkey off his back.
Definitely.
I'll say this: he's tired of being Sheldon Creed. You know, always finishing second. I hear it all the time. He's like, when am I gonna get this win? And I know it's coming. I know Daniel is completely capable of it. I've raced with him for years. Literally, the first league I joined, I didn't know this at the time, but I raced with Daniel Cunningham. And when I first joined, me and him were always side by side on track. So I know he has it in him. I just think maybe this is coming from an aggressive guy, so it might be biased. If he's just a little bit more aggressive and is willing to make moves, I think he could probably get 2 to 3 wins before the season's over.
Yeah.
Uh,
When you
I
race
could
like,
definitely.
go ahead, Jake.
Oh, go ahead. I was gonna just piggyback off that. Like, I can agree. If Dan gets a win, I think we're all in trouble because I think that momentum is just gonna carry through the playoffs, and the rest of us are gonna be hurting pretty good. Same thing with Patrick. Once he gets a win, that momentum is just gonna be there.
Yeah. Well, talking about Daniel, yeah, I think I agree with Lucas. I think he in this series, in the Wednesday night series, I think at this point all 5 series are this way. If you aren't aggressive, you're not going to win, because the wins are not going to fall in your lap in any of these series. And I don't think anybody has had a win fall in their lap. I mean, sure, you could say a super speedway. You know, somebody might point out Chris Sawyer won at Daytona, but those don't fall in your lap either. Like, you have to work for those. So I don't see a scenario where, this just falls in my lap. So he's gonna have to go out there and get that win. Although I just don't think he's gonna have to. But it sure does when you get ready for a playoff run, especially a 2 race per round playoff system like they run here in Goat Locker. Wins are going to be really important. So I don't know. I don't know. Looking at the schedule, I'm trying to think of really good tracks for Daniel.
We have Milwaukee this week, followed by Michigan, and then Charlotte to close out the season.
Yeah.
All right. Quick question.
I don't think he loves Milwaukee.
He despises it. But where is it? Do y'all go there? I don't think you all do.
I think he could win at Michigan. I definitely think he's had some success there. In Charlotte, for sure, I think he can win. But Charlotte's one of those tracks where, Costic's going to be really good at Charlotte. Jacob, you're going to be really good at Charlotte. Like, the Andy Kurtz is going to be really good at Charlotte. And Cody, if he runs, he's going to be really good. Charlotte's one of those tracks that it's a driver's track. I think folks kind of look over Charlotte as sort of a driver's mile and a half. It's not an easy track to drive. It's one of the toughest, in my opinion, because you've got to go down to that white and blue line, and you got to nail it in turn 1 every single time, or you're gonna be struggling. 3 and 4 has got a little bit more flexibility, but 1 and 2, you got to nail it, and so it's gonna be tough to win at those tracks. So I'm not real sure which one he would get the win at, but he is definitely capable at any 3. And Pat, I feel like next week is a great opportunity for Pat. Pat's really good at the flat tracks, and Milwaukee seems like it would fall kind of right in his hand. So if I had to pick who's going to win next week, I would probably say, especially from the non-winners, I think Dravik's got the best opportunity if he's there. I don't know if he's going to be there tomorrow night.
He should be.
The 22nd. Yeah. So if he is there, I'd be hard pressed to say that Dravik doesn't have a chance to win.
I'll say Dan Cunningham has his best chance at Michigan, but for next week, I either want to say Jacob is finally going to get it together, and you'll get another one. I'm just going to say this: Milwaukee is going to be racing the track and not other drivers. But either Andy Kurtz or Jake Ellingson. Those are my 2 for next week.
Yeah, no, I can't stand Milwaukee. Watching the race there is perfectly A-okay. Being on, actually racing on the track in real life is perfectly okay. Racing it in iRacing, no thanks. I'll pass. You can have my seat for that week.
All right, well, let's move on. We'll try to be a little bit quicker as we move through here, but let's watch this finish from the Wednesday night Cruising Classics Next Gen, and then we'll talk about it a little bit.
Ending up in the wall, but that's not going to bring the yellow S. The white flag in the air, which means one more lap of racing action here at Atlanta. Pendleton getting pushed to high hell from Blake Edel, the driver of the number 18 car, wearing out the number 23's back bumper, heading down through the quad oval off into turn number 1. Pendleton leading them, going down the back straightaway. Edel, though, he finds himself in a really rough spot when it comes to the championship fight, but look at Lucas Lyons on the inside line. Lyons, who scored the victory at Talladega to kick this season off, gonna try and go for 2 for 2, but it's not gonna be close enough. Ryan Pendleton wins it when everything is said and done. Blake Edel had a hell of a charge towards the end, create a photo finish.
Well, there you have it. Pretty good finish. Congratulations to Ryan Pendleton, who takes the win there. Man, that must have been a wild and crazy race all the way throughout. Lucas, you tried to make a move there at the end of the race. Of course, I think we all know that move was never going to win you the race, but I think you were trying to get second there. But 30 lead changes in that race. What was it like out there? Atlanta has, I think, has become a lot of people's favorites since the repave.
I would say yeah. A lot of, especially in the next gen, definitely with the drafting and then actually having to lift in the corner itself to get some air onto the nose and try to get it into the corners was a big challenge, especially going into 3. But it definitely was a lot of fun, especially with the long green flag runs that we had. 4 cautions for only 12 laps. I mean, that's unheard of at drafting tracks.
I'll say this from my point of view. It shocked me how much the draft affected the inside lane, because there were some points I would have a car not bump drafting me, but only like maybe a quarter of a car off me. I'd fall all the way back to like the 5th car on the outside. And then as soon as the car behind me got on my bumper, like we would go all the way even with the leader of the outside lane and probably a lap and a half. Like, it's just unheard of to me. And I want to go ahead and make my formal apology to Patrick for accidentally almost spinning him. But I gave you some room to collect yourself. I didn't try to wreck you. I was just trying to get you up there because, I mean, it's go time within 5 to go, baby. Like, nobody's gonna lift.
Yeah. Well, Ryan Pendleton was able to get the win. The next gen car is such a weird drafting car. I think we've seen it in real life and see it in the sim that it has some really nice runs. You can definitely make some moves, but the side draft and just the overall, it seems like if you can get out front, it's really hard to without somebody just pushing the hell out of somebody, get up there and take that win. Let's pull up the point standing, see where everybody is. Of course, Lucas sitting atop the standings with that win. Cody McElwain's got 2, but this is sorted by points, overall points, and Lucas has that. JJ Moore there, Ryan Pendleton now with his win, Cody McElwain with 2, Jesse Whittington and Logan Sturgeon. And this series is very similar, huh? Like very similar as the Tuesday Xfinity series, where we've got a bunch of winners, and you look down the list of those who haven't won, and they are previous winners. So they're pretty incredible. So, Jake, they'll talk a little about this series and tonight and the other night.
I mean, Atlanta was just a phenomenal race. I wasn't in it for about 3/4 of the race. I was in it, and I had a blast. I mean, I was just looking to finish the race and try to have a good, a halfway decent finish, and ended up getting caught up in something, and with no fast repairs in the next gen series, it took me out of the race with some pretty substantial damage to the car. But watching the race, after that, I couldn't speak volumes with how respectful, the guys were in the series to, give room where room was needed. And, towards the end of the race where, everything started to ramp up. I mean, everything was still, fairly respectful with the racing.
Well, that's good to hear. It definitely seemed like it was a lot of fun to be out there. But yeah, I mean, looking at the standings here, I mean, gosh, you got Drabick all the way back in 11th, 13 points above the cutoff. Stubblefield 2 points above, and Blake Edel, which that is a name that I'm not familiar with. Do y'all know anything about him?
He runs I think his only series that he runs is the Next Gen series. So that's one of them names you'll only hear there.
Well, I mean, he's 2 points below the cutoff. We'll see if he can make some moves. But look at the stout competition that is above him is pretty insane. I could definitely see the win list going over into that second column as we move forward. And let's see, where are they headed next week?
Indianapolis.
Ooh, that'll be a fun one. That is driver's track. If I've ever seen one, it's one of the more fun ones, in my opinion, with the next gen, because of how you have to hit the line perfect every single time. Indy is one of those that you either love it or you hate it, and it can be a frustrating race. It looks like Jake and Lucas not a fan.
No.
I love it. I think it's such an interesting track to drive. It's a lot of times it's very, very difficult. So, but you guys not on board with it, huh?
Not at all. You'll see me good for about 3 laps, and then my tires are gonna be gone. I mean, that's just the best way to put it. I'm not excited. My main goal is just don't die, and keep it simple, and just be there at the finish. And I doubt it'll happen, but maybe a podium finish would fall in my lap. But I seriously doubt it with how I'm going to perform on Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm just looking to settle in, and where I finish is where I finish.
Well, there you have it. So, none too excited here in the Goat Talk booth here tonight. So, Indianapolis not getting a lot of love out there, but that's okay. You like I said, you either love it or you hate it. Well, let's move on to the Thursday. Any more thoughts about Wednesday series before we move on? All right, good deal. Well, let's move on. I'm going to try to turn up the volume for everybody listening so y'all can hear these actual voices. We'll see if it's a little bit louder this time, but let's move on to Thursday and the ARCA series on Nazareth 360.
He should have this one in the bag. Smooth sailing as we're going to see Barnstop. There it is for the white flag. And 1 to go.
1 to go here tonight at Nashville. Gardner's just got to make 4 more quarters, even the tri-oval, and he will come away with the win here tonight at Nashville Superspeedway. Mullins way back there trying to see if he can close the gap. He ain't got a shot at this point. Gardner been one of the fastest drivers all night. How about you, Big Daddy? Off turn 4. Jeremy Gardner in the number 10 for Veterans for Life Racing gets it done here tonight at Nashville. Jamie Mullins will end up getting second. George Jewell, how about that right there? George Jewell, I did not jinx him. He ain't got to come to Georgia and try to find me. He's going to get third here tonight. Jonathan Cofield gets fourth, and Michael McCarthy gets fifth. McCarthy wins the amateur division.
Well, there you go. Jeremy Garner comes away with the victory, and Michael McCarthy wins the AM division. And, well, me and Jake were in this race. This is one that I was a part of, and Nashville, one of my most hated tracks. Nashville and Iowa top the list for me of tracks that I just cannot stand for very specific reasons. But overall, though, I thought this was a really fantastic race. The ARCA car always seems to put on a pretty good show. I don't know, Jake. I don't want to hog the mic here. How did your race go?
Yeah,
we haven't gotten out of the hole yet this week. We haven't. We're almost there. We didn't quite get out.
Nope. This was the 9th DNF in a row. With with this race for me. I definitely expected a lot more from myself, especially running at Nashville. With the success I've had at this track in previous seasons. This season, not so much in any car as of yet. Uh, I just ended up burning off the right rear, and I ended up getting extremely loose coming out of 4, and I threw it into the wall and the outside wall and just held it there, so I didn't wreck any other guys, out on the track, and then pulled it down and into the pits, and then another one of them things where it was the hit didn't seem that hard in the grand scheme, but I ended up with 8 minutes of repairs and kind of took me out of the race, and just kind of watched it after that, and then watched Jeremy just kind of dominate that second half of the race.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think Jeremy Garner and Jonathan Cofield were the class of the field for a lot of that race. Yeah, that race had a lot of ups and downs. Not just for me. I started off. I qualified about 16th. I'd gone into the practice session, ran a 1, and felt like, okay, I can replicate it. I have to throw away my first lap. I said, I'm going to go for broke. I don't mind starting in the back. I've done that a couple races so far. So I said, I'm going to go for broke here tonight and try to go for it. So I got into the practice session before the race and was hitting pretty close. I said, yeah, I'm going to be able to hit that 1. So for anybody listening, sometimes you can give away the first lap to gain a little extra on that second lap by running high off the corner once the tires come up to speed. And so I did a 7 on my first lap, come off the corner, and man, really, I killed it in 1 and 2. It was awesome. I was going to come off the corner, and I was like, oh snap, this is going to be a really good lap time. And came off the corner and just tagged the wall off of 2. And so my lap did not count for a 0x, and so I started in 16th. And as soon as the green flag dropped, it was a damn fuel-saving race, which will come up again later on. But I'm tired of it. This is my beef of the week. If I was Jake Reeves, this is my beef. This is my beef of the week. It's right here.
With that beef,
these damn fuel races. As soon as the green flag dropped, I looked down at my fuel meter, and it was you couldn't make it. You had to save. And so the whole first run, I was sitting there saving. Caution comes out, doesn't matter. So caution came out around 30 or so, and I decided to move forward. Got up inside the top 6, I think, and was feeling pretty good on a restart. Got loose right in front of Rusty Rafferty and spun it out. Did a 360 and drove away.
Hey, you know why they call it Xbox 360, don't you?
Yeah, you do a 360 and you walk away, and that's exactly what I did. I did an Xbox 360 and I drove away and it stayed in it. Didn't give up. Drove up, got another caution, and ended up in 6th again by the end of the race. And everybody was just going for broke. Those last 10 laps were pretty incredible as far as racing goes. Michael McCarthy was up there racing. He's the amateur winner. But he had plenty of speed up in the top 5. Cofield obviously was trying to get it. He trying to get back up to the field and stuff. So I thought that was a really fantastic race. Guys made contact, but it didn't end a lot of races. So that was good. Obviously the big story was, and I know that Josh is watching. Sorry, Josh, we're going to talk a little bit about this because I think this is an interesting topic. And so Josh, new to iRacing, and we come down. We had about 30 laps on our tires, and everybody comes in except for him. He starts on the front row and decides to stay out and see what he can do. And if we all know, and this is the thing about being on iRacing for a long time, we all know what's going to happen. Everybody knows, but except for Josh. And I think deep down he probably did know, but and I'm trying to dance around this because Josh didn't do anything wrong. First off, that's what I want to say. But we all know what was going to happen. And to his credit, he said, "I'm going to go up there with these older tires. I know maybe my speed is not where these guys are, and I'm going to go up here and try to get something out of this." And the green flag came out, and it was a hornet's nest for sure. As you put yourself in that situation, all the nice giving each other room, giving each other space goes away when you take no tires and you stay out front against guys who have fresh tires at the end of the race. It's gonna be a damn beehive, and that's what it was. And so he stays out. Now, both of you, what are your opinions on that call? Obviously, we've established he did nothing wrong, but what are your thoughts on a call of, with your experience on iRacing, of 30 laps of old tires, still about 20 laps to go at Nashville? Would you make that call?
No, sir. Anything over 10 laps, anything 10 laps or more on tires on Nashville, I'm coming to get them. If I have them, I'm coming to get them. That place just, eats that right front. Depending on how you drive, I try to, at Nashville, I try to lean on the right rear more, especially in 3 and 4. But that place will eat that right front like nobody's business. And anything 10 laps or more, it's just cheese grating them tires, and everybody's just going to eat you alive after that.
If it was a green-white checkered, I probably would have stayed out just for the fun of it. I mean, if you don't think you're the fastest guy, you can't just follow everybody else down pit road and expect it to fall in your lap. But with 30 lap old tires, with 20.
I don't know what he's laughing at, guys. Anyway, move on. Yeah, well, I think after the race, I think Unger did kind of say, well, my intention was to try to see what's going, and he didn't know the restart rules. I mean, I said in the Discord that I mean, if you want to, you're gonna have to walk in the beehive if you want the honey. If you want to learn how to restart a race on old tires, you got to do it. And that's the beauty of Goat Locker, is that we made it through that. Nobody wrecked. Some folks may be aggravated. I don't know. I didn't hear anybody aggravated about it. It's his. He's it's his iRacing. It's his race. He can choose to do whatever he wants. He didn't do anything wrong. But you got to learn, and that's a definite lesson right there. That maybe this isn't the right choice. Maybe moving forward he'll be like, hey, I don't know if I don't know if I'm going to do that again. But I will give him a lot of credit. He didn't freak out.
Yep.
A lot of guys will just freak out. They'll be mad because they're getting all run up over and run all up on. And he wasn't. He didn't get upset. He knew what was coming. He braced for it, and we all survived. He did a great job. So definitely hats off to him. It was a very wild call. But hey, that's part of it. So I'm trying to dance around this because I just wanted to talk about it. And but I didn't want to be too critical. So Josh out there, I think did a great job, man. But I wouldn't have done it. I'm just gonna be honest. So, but a great finish. Cofield was behind him on that restart, and I think those two were definitely the class of the field. And that kind of held up Cofield a little bit and allowed Gardner to get out there. And there was no catching him. Once you get out front at Nashville, it really doesn't matter who's behind you. It's really, really tough track to try to make up some time. But let's move on. I don't want to keep y'all too long. We still got a couple more. I got some more things to talk about, so we'll jump right into the point standings. This is one of the most interesting series as every single week because of the pro and amateur split that we have in the series. And I think the amateur division is definitely kind of shaped up way it's going to be. Somebody can definitely win and jump up there, but you can see, a lot of those guys well above the cutoff. A lot of opportunities for amateurs to take advantage of pro guys having trouble and making up those spots, making up a lot of points. So I feel like there's a pretty, a lot of variance in the amateur division because of that very reason. The points can really shuffle up and down pretty quick.
Yeah, definitely. And I say, especially with the pro guys having trouble. I mean, it really could shoot up. One of the amateur guys into a win.
Yeah. Well, so far looking at the standings, obviously you are locked in with the win. Cofield was already locked in with the win. Chance Taylor, who was your go to the week, Lucas was locked in, and then you got Jamie Mullins, who finished second, had a really good run. And then there you are, Lucas in sixth, George Jewell in seventh, and Brandon Wallace there in eighth. Is there anybody below the pro cutoff line that y'all think can make it into the cutoff before the end of this playoff? Anybody down there you see that might make it in? I don't know. Just any thoughts?
Yeah,
Besides
man.
Timothy Wilms.
I mean, this Eddie Smith guy. I mean, he definitely can make it in. He just needs to have a few solid finishes, and I think he can make that A spot up, and hopefully knock that 99 down, a notch too.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say this though. Eddie Smith's biggest problem is going to be both the Cofields out there, man. I mean,
I bound my pit button that says pitting in. I bound it and said, "Watch out, Cofield," because at Indy now. To be fair, these are all jokes. I mess with those guys, but honestly, none of the issues I've had with the Cofields, other than Mark, was totally on them. I think Mark just didn't know I was there and came down at whatever track that was, but.
Chicagoland.
Yeah, Chicagoland. But the Cofield issue at Indy, I would take part of the credit for, even though I did call it out and he didn't hear it. I did check up well into turn 4. Like I was in turn 4 when I checked up. Not really sure what he was supposed to do, even if he heard me, because you can't really jump out of line in turn 4 in those cars. So I didn't practice pit entry. So I was trying to be a little bit passive there. So, yeah, he ran into me, but I don't know. I think anybody would have done that. So I take majority of the responsibility there. And then the other night in this race, we were just racing the dog food out of each other, and McCarthy got into the wall and he was trying to avoid it. And it was just a bam type thing. So yeah, I'm hoping to finish one in the top 5 and just at least get up there and race around the lead at some point. That'd be great. But the last few races haven't gone that well. Watkins Glen did okay, but I still made a lot of mistakes. So try to stop those mistakes. I gotta take my own advice and quit trying so dang hard. But anyway, yeah, I'm excited to see how this plays out. What I'm really excited to see is the playoff run in this series, just because you see the cutoff there is at 8 drivers instead of 12 like the normal series. So it's harder to get into each division into the playoffs. And, during the playoffs, you're going to be racing each other. That's something that I'm just excited. I want to see it. I want to see what it's like once we get there. You've got guys that are racing for 2 totally different championships. That's pretty crazy, and I don't really know how that's going to work. It's going to be wild, I think.
It's definitely going to be wild, but I think we got a good thing going with the Pro-Am splits in the ARCA division here, and hopefully we can make a couple of these guys next season some pros instead of amateurs, and bring in some new set of amateurs and do a repeat of this season, because the racing's been phenomenal in the ARCA series. I can't rave about it enough.
Yeah. Well, they go to New Hampshire this Thursday night. God, what a terrible track. You better qualify. Hey. You better qualify on the pole. If you don't qualify on the pole, you're not going to win the race. That's how New Hampshire works. So
I completely disagree with you, Eddie. I completely disagree with you. I love New Hampshire. I'm just going to say that. I mean, I'm sorry to bring it up, Jonathan, but I mean, the one race I won where I actually killed him, I didn't start up front. You can make passes at New Hampshire.
Okay. Well, I mean, you convinced me. You convinced me.
You just got to know how to do it.
Well, I'll tell you what. Good luck to anybody who tries to pass anybody this Thursday night. Good luck, because it's going to be, in my opinion, impossible. In Lucas' opinion, not impossible. So we'll see. We'll see who's right. My goal Thursday night, if I do race, is going to be up front, start on the pole. That's my goal. So we'll see. But yeah. So right now, Tyler Justice has the amateur point standings lead. However, Michael McCarthy has got 3 wins, and he honestly looks really strong. Him and Tyler have been 2 drivers that I think have been up in the mix and towards the top 5 almost every single race. Rusty Rafferty has also been really good. Matt Knights, those guys, Kaufman, all those guys. It's really weird to hear them be the amateurs, because honestly, a lot of them are really good drivers. So, yeah, I think right now Tyler Justice is definitely the man to beat in there. But I don't know. McCarthy was up there racing in the top 4 or 5 the other night, so he's got a lot of speed. All right, well, we'll move on then. Everybody seems to be in agreement except for Nashville or New Hampshire being a good track. All right, well, let's move on to the Friday Night Truck Series. This was at Watkins Glen, and boy, was this not an exciting race at all. And but exciting for Jacob Ellingson. But let's take a look at this, and then we'll talk about it.
I can't think of anything either. This number 3 has not made a mistake here tonight. And that's what we talked about, Logan. The driver who is going to win this race, the drivers who were going to finish up front, were going to be patient, consistent, and they were not going to make a mistake. And that is a perfect description of this number 3 of Caustic. He rounds the penultimate corner, throws it into 8, slides it through onto the bumpers. Michael Caustic is going to win here at the Glen in round 7 of the Veterans for Life Racing Truck Series.
Well, there you have it. Michael Caustic just dominated this race, and I was really hoping to see Cody McElwain show up, but he did not. And Caustic, man, he took everybody to the woodshed. Everybody went out back and got their butts whooped, but Jacob Ellingson snapped a 9-race DNF streak. And I'm going to be honest, I was watching the cameras when everybody crossed the line because I could see them all while I'm producing. And you were fist bumping. You were so excited. You were so thrilled to have that 3rd place finish. What was it like when you finally said, God, I finally finished one of these things?
It honestly felt like a win. It truly did. Granted that, Caustic, spanked us, through the entire race, and, Pat finished I think it was like 7 seconds ahead of me. It honestly felt like I won over both of them. I couldn't have been more ecstatic to finally finish a truck race, on top of that, because I didn't finish a truck race at all this season until Watkins Glen. And I just went into the race going, well, here we go. Let's just try to finish the race. And all of a sudden I just started hitting marks and keeping up with Pat. And then in the Discord chat, Pat was just like, try this, do this, and just keep hitting your marks. And it just kept flowing, and it just felt like I was on rails. I don't know how Caustic was, moving away so fast, but it felt like I was moving pretty fast myself, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Watkins Glen's one of those tracks that it's everybody knows it, so it's not like you have to learn it. It's usually a pretty fun track to race in a stock car. Yeah, but Caustic, no surprise. I don't know what it is. In GT3 cars, I can keep up with him, which I've gotten a lot better. But I can keep up with it. But you put him in a stock car, for some reason, he is just unbelievable at these road courses in a stock car. I'm trying to lean on ABS and traction control a little bit too much probably. But he is unbelievable, and he showed why. It was not even close. He had the best, just the easiest time that race, and just drove to victory. Like a lot of these road courses seem to end up. But, no slouch, though. Patrick Dravitt, we've kind of highlighted his improvements on road courses. And I think, it's a natural progression for a NASCAR-style oval driver is to get really good at the ovals. And then once you get really good where you can win races then you start to put a little bit more time in the road courses because you don't have to spend as much time getting good at the ovals. You go to Dover, you already know how to run Dover. You don't have to practice a lot for it. You go to Darlington, you already know how to do this. You go to all these tracks, you've been there plenty of times. Now the road courses are that next challenge, and you can see when somebody makes a huge leap. And Drabic has honestly gotten so much better at road courses really quickly, and he is going to be if he puts a little bit more time into it, he's going to be up there battling for wins with Caustic and the like. It's going to take a lot more practice, but he can definitely do it, I think. So he's shown a lot of improvement in that area. But also you, Jake. I mean, Jake, I'm to be honest. When road courses come around, I'm honest to a fault. I think I write you off. I say you're a Dale Jr. You're the guy that go out there and he'll win an oval race in a heartbeat. But road course, forget about it. But there you are, Friday night, finishing third, 16 seconds behind Caustic, but a third place finish nonetheless, and you did a great job. So you definitely have tried to improve a little bit, it seems like.
Just a tad. I don't put too much stock into practicing road courses, to be honest. I like running them, just not my kind of cup of tea. So if I come away with 7th, 8th, a top 10, I'm happy with it. So coming away with a podium finish was just made me think a little bit, and maybe I should put a little bit more time into actually trying to learn how to race the course, and instead of just running it.
Yeah. Well, to me, it's hard. It's hard to find where I make, if I make improvements on road courses, I never really, I never know. I really don't feel like I drive it any more different than I have in the past. But then you see the results be better. It's a weird feeling in road courses because you go out there and you run times that you've never run before, and you're like, I don't know, what am I doing differently? And I think it's just a collective small steps that you've gotten better. You've got 14 turns at a track. 8 at Watkins Glen. Well, you're a 10th better than you were last time you were at Watkins Glen in every single corner. Well, a 10th better in turn 1 could also turn into half a second by the time you reach the bus stop. So, that's always a progression as you move through. And so you can come back and be a second faster, and all you did was really improved, your turn 1 exit. So, road courses are funny, man, but there's a lot of really competitive guys on road courses, and that race was, I can't say it was super exciting. I know the broadcasters were really trying to find things to talk about. There was some really good racing. Jake Ham was blasting up through the field. He was making a lot of moves and had a really good race. So, I think a lot of guys were just happy to finish, and so I don't really know what else to talk about with this race. It was pretty straightforward. Caustic came in, whooped everybody's butts. You got a good finish. Dravic got a good finish, and that's what needs to happen. Of course, you got to have more and more good finishes. If we look at the point standings here, you don't see Jacob Ellingson on this list, but things can change pretty quickly. Do you know how far down that list you are? We can't see.
I believe I am 27th in points.
So with 3 races left, we talked to you after the race on Friday night, and you said, "Yeah, I feel like I'm in a must-win from here on out." So, here we are. You got you in here. You're in a must-win. Where are you going to get that win? You want to call your shot now?
I'm definitely not going to call my shot. I'm just looking for good, solid finishes, and we'll see what happens. There's definitely some tracks that I like running the next 3 weeks. I've always been a big fan of Iowa. Phoenix is always a fun track to race at. Vegas, on the other hand, I can take it or leave it, but I definitely like. I don't mind racing there, but if it isn't on the schedule, it's not going to bother me none. But Iowa and Phoenix, I definitely like racing at, for sure.
So feeling like you're in a must win, but I think those 3 tracks definitely play out in your favor. Just getting behind in this particular series is a tough one because if you look down through here, it's the same story as I would say Tuesday and Wednesday series. Thursday is just different because of the different divisions. There's a lot more, like I said, variance in points. But I mean, if you look down through here, this is crazy. We have, let's see, Cossack is there. Let's see, I think we have somebody that's got a win that is not on the list, and I'm trying to remember who that is. No, this is right. Yeah, this is right.
Yep.
Yeah. So there you have it. And we have a winner every single week. Although, am I confused? After week 7, we only have 6 winners.
No, Andy Kurtz.
Andy Kurtz. That's right. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so we do have 7 different winners. Obviously, Andy hasn't run that many races, so he's not up there. But then you got Jake Ham, who has been extremely fast every single week. Levi McCarty in the same boat as Jake Ham. Cunningham again. Craig Bontrager, Charlie Harcum, Chance Taylor, all right there on that cutoff. And then you got James Gosh and Steve McDonald just a few behind. I mean, I think it's probably still possible with the amount of cars that we have that you can point your way in. But I mean, if you look down through that list, that is a stout list. So I think a lot of folks are thinking, I got to win, because even if you're Craig Bontrager, you're not safe there in 10th. You're in trouble if you have one bad race. Cunningham, McCarty, still they're not safe at all. So it's going to be definitely a really good. Last season was incredible. I think this season is going to turn out to be very similar to the way last season was. So I'm hoping for chaos. I want 10 different winners in every single series. So
that's what we're gonna hope for.
Lucas, you got anything to add about the Friday? Do you watch this race at all?
I watched a little bit of it, and it's like what you said earlier. Michael Cossack, he's just like the road course king, in my opinion. And the same thing with Cody Malkowian. It's just, I have no clue how they go so fast.
Cody Malkovich.
Yep. I mean, words is not my strength.
Damn it, it's McElwain.
Cody McDonald's. How about that? But
you wouldn't say it to his face.
If he gets in here, I might. But it's just words is not my strong suit. But I don't understand how Mike is so fast. It's like me and him have done endurance races together. We'll run like the same lap times, and then we go to stock cars on a road course, like what you said, and he's gone. He's in a different zip code.
Yeah. I mean, Cody is unbelievable too. I just, I watch them. I'll go on board, watch them race, and it looks like they're running the same damn line that you are, and whatever it is, it'll be a second and a half faster, and they'll do it every single lap. So those guys are just so much fun to watch. And if you ever get them on the track together where they can race it out like they did that one time, that's worth every penny. Well, all right. Well, this obviously the Friday night series is going to be extremely competitive all the way to the end. So we have one more series to go through, and so we'll jump in here and watch the finish. Which I think this is a boring finish as well. I don't think anything happened. I think somebody led the entire race. I don't know. Let's go back and see.
I mean, I really don't want to talk about it.
Lucas. Shut up, Lucas.
You go in and the other doesn't. You almost throw away the chance to win this race, as there's still a battle for third going on in behind. Are they in the catbird seat? Neither Smith nor Lyons goes down pit road. White flag is out. Will either of these two drivers have enough fuel to make it back to the checkered? As they go into one, they have traffic in front to deal with. Lyons with a bit of a wide apex, but way wide out on that runoff area is Smith, trying to get the best run possible up through the S's. Has a big right here, a big block from Lyons, and going side by side with traffic, sliding the back end around with that 87 machine, doing all he can, and he still stays within a few truck lengths coming to the bus stop.
Yeah, I don't think it's easy at all to explain how aggressive of a move that was by Lyons to block in the S's like that. That is not easy to do. Smith overdriving the carousel, and Lyons is beginning to pull away as we head towards the final 2 corners. Look at Smith.
Oh, Smith is sliding it all the way through the final set of corners here. Lyons has done all he can to hold off Smith. Just 2 more corners to negotiate. Does he have enough fuel to make it back to the line? He's slowing down big time. I am almost worried here. He's out. He's wiggling the back end of that truck. Smith is going to pass him. Does he have enough to make it to the line? Last break for Lyons. Smith wins it.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. Lucas Lyons had just 1 corner to go, but ran out of fuel. Gets second place. Eddie Smith steals it at the death.
Well, man, that was a great second place finish for you, Lucas. Now let's jump into this race. I want to talk about it because I thought it was interesting because I won, and so I want to spend a lot of time talking about this particular race. So interesting it was because a lot different than the Friday night truck series where we didn't have enough fuel to make it all the way to the midway of the point of the race. So what you're seeing is the culmination of a fuel saving race all the way through. So, Lucas, the question I have for you, because I was in my truck, so I know exactly what I was thinking. But, Lucas, the question I have for you is, when did you know that we weren't going to be able to make it without doing a whole bunch of saving?
Probably about 6 laps into the race. I was waiting for my fuel calculator to, make sure that its number was right. And once I still saw that originally we were going to run out on, lap 19.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, there's no way. And I know I was trying to pull that gap away from you, and I was like, I just can't do it anymore. I need to start saving and try to make it to lap 21 so I don't have to save as much for that final run. And coming around to lap 20, I had
hold on. Let's not jump. Let's not do the whole recap. Because I want to savor this. It's like a really nice, Wagyu steak. I want to savor this. So let's go bite at a time, okay, Lucas? All the way through about how I beat you, okay?
I'm going to still chair right there just for you, Eddie.
I'm just kidding.
Just for you.
But yeah, no, I just wanted to talk about it just because it was, I thought it was a weird race because I can't say that it was fun. That's one thing that I don't know if it was fun or not because fuel saving the whole time, it definitely feels like that's a skill, but it wasn't fun because we were running very similar lap times in practice and stuff, and it would have been really cool to kind of race it out because I definitely feel like you have the ability to race a road course better than me, at least man up. So it'd have been interesting to see who could, race it out full bore, but we never really got a chance. I think once we both realized we were having to save fuel, that was it. There was no amount of want to that mattered. It was all about just trying to make sure you made it to lap 20, but also save enough that you could, give yourself a little bit of extra. I didn't do it. I don't know about you, but I came in. We talked a little bit about after the race. We came in right at lap 20. We were on 19 coming to 20, and I think both of us came in because we weren't going to make it another lap. So we came in on lap 20, and but what we were doing is we were just managing the gap between each other because you would pull away. And I'd be like, good, this is what I want to see. I want him to go out there. And then you started backing up to me. And I said, okay, well, I'm barely running at all. And I said, he's definitely, you back up to about a second. And then I would get a little bit closer. And it was just, honestly, just a chess match forever until we got down that pit road. And then at that point, I don't know how you attacked it, but I immediately just came out of pit road, shifted to fourth, and I never left fourth until about 3 laps to go. So I ran fourth gear through turn 1, through the S's, through the bus stop. I was clutching in the carousel, everything I could do to gain one extra lap to be able to push you. at the end, and I think you were doing exactly the same thing.
I actually wasn't. Turn one, I was downshifting to third, but everything else was about similar. Going through the S's, that right-hander, I would shift up to fourth there, but I wouldn't go full throttle into the bus stop, and you knew that. Because there was one time you passed me, and I got right back around you in the final 2 corners.
Yeah, well, that particular point was a point where I knew you were saving really hard, and I knew I felt like I was doing a good enough job to keep putting the pressure on you. I didn't feel like I didn't have to back way off. And so the lap before, you backed off on the coming to the bus stop really hard, and I caught up to you and I lifted, and I was like, "There's no way I'm gonna let him just lift down the straightaway." Like, so the next time by, you did this exact same thing, and I just blew your doors off. I was like, "Nope, we're not doing this." Because you're doing the same thing I'm doing with your calculator, but I'm looking to try to make sure that I have a certain amount that I need to be able to push at the end, and so I'm only saving that much. I don't need to save a full lap and then have an extra lap at the end with this particular race, right? Like ideally for both of us, we run a lap time because there's no cautions. So we're trying to run lap times that will get us to the end of the race where we cross the start finish line full speed and the truck dies. Like that's the ideal, right?
Yeah. I know, like as soon as we came out pit road, like we were running 3 to 4 seconds slower than what we qualified with.
Yeah. Ben Stevens was passing us.
Yeah. And which I was in the call for him that race. I was like, "Hey, look, man, I'm gonna let you go. Me and Eddie are saving fuel, but like if he starts putting pressure on me, I gotta go just to keep managing that gap." So it's just it's a really hard race for me to explain because I've never been put in that situation before.
Yeah. Some people might like it. I don't know. I'm type I want to come in, especially if I'm not racing for points. I want to get up there and just race the dog food out of each other. That's what I want to do. But it was definitely interesting with the fuel saving. I know a lot of folks probably don't. I don't know if people like it or not. I'm not sure. Some people may love that type of racing, but I just never felt like we could go. That was the frustrating part. If you want to fuel save a little bit and then be able to go, but you had the fuel save literally the whole time, and that was sort of the bummer. Even though it was eventually a good, exciting finish, it was still just tough because there was no benefit for me to go up there and pass you other than just to keep you pushing forward, not loud. Because if I just sat behind you, we ran 118s, then you would definitely make it, and then it would, I'd have to come down to the point where I'd have to make a decision to get around you, and you can't just pass somebody at Watkins Glen whenever you want to if you're running similar speeds. So there was just no good way of really doing it other than just to try to make sure that we saved just enough to make it to the start finish line. So when we came down pit road, I was a little bit worried exactly how it was going to play out. I didn't know, I didn't know what you were doing. I didn't know how well you were saving. So
clearly not good enough. Clearly not.
Well, I just committed to knowing what my calculator was saying, and I committed to fourth gear all the way around, and you seemed to be committing to fuel saving. You didn't get too far ahead, and I was good with it. And we got down to 3 to go, and we decided to start pushing. And I started pushing up on you a little bit. My calculator has a little qualifying thing, so it tells me what my fastest lap fuel usage was, and it turned green to let me know that I could run my hardest laps and make it to the end. Which is it. Those calculators are a guide. They're not accurate. You know what I'm saying? They're not 100% accurate. They're hoping that they are, but a lot of times they'll screw you over. What was your fuel situation like around 5 laps to go? Were you good and then started pushing it, dropped through, or what?
It kept going back and forth, and I was like, well, I can't just roll over and die and let Eddie win the race.
Famous last words.
Yeah, I mean, and then coming out the second to last corner, it sputters. So I'm like, all right, maybe I'll have enough gas to get out of the final corner and just let it run out on Front Straight. But clearly not. It died quick. I'll say that. and just I don't know. That's a really tough race for me.
Yeah.
It's going out leading 38 laps, and because it's happened. Like I've put myself in a position to win a race the past 3 races, and it's just either last lap, 10 laps to go, and I'm on 10-lap older tires, or well, it wasn't even 10-lap older tires. It was like 5 at Kentucky, and just have my doors blown off where I run out of gas. It's kind of like heartbreaking in a way.
Yeah.
But like that's the only way I can get better.
Yeah. Yeah, well, all joking aside, I thought it was a fantastic race. It was definitely a chess match, and it was definitely something that both of us were trying to not really outsmart, but just, I do one thing, you do the other to work off of it, same, the vice versa. And at the end, I mean, we both did a good job. We're talking about 0.1 gallon. We're not talking about a huge margin that I saved over you. It was just the smallest amount. And it was a tough one. It was definitely a tough decision. I thought for sure you could see my last half a lap how desperate I was, and realized that, oh snap, he may have saved enough. I was a little in disbelief because I didn't know how well you were saving. I thought I was being really over the top with it, with the clutching and stuff. I didn't really think that was necessary. I gave up a lot of time doing that.
I'll say this. I was pushing the last half of the lap, hoping that you would make a bigger mistake than what you did.
Yeah.
Trying to run
and
me
had
back
that
down.
happen, I went back and watched it, and had that happen, that's exactly, you probably still would have won the race, because had I just been smart there, because I didn't know you were going to run out. So I was trying to actually pass you legit. And yeah, so I don't know. I was definitely trying at that point, like, oh gosh, I thought for sure he's going to run out, or he'd have to save enough where he'd have to let me go. That's what I thought was going to happen. You were going to have to like start lifting really hard, and I was just going to drive by you. And when we went through the carousel, I was like, oh God, this is it. I'm going to lose this race, and there's nothing I could do because I couldn't save any better than I did. And man, to come through there, and then all of a sudden you sputtered. I'm gonna be honest, I had a shit-eating grin when I went past you. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't doubt it.
It's a crazy way to win a race. I'm not happy for your misfortune. It's not because it's you, but just win a race that way. There's no doubt. I was fist pumping because that was pretty exciting. So, but anyway, I know we probably went long talking about that. Jake just sitting there quietly listening, but I thought it would be fun to hash it out just because we did battle for that long, and it was sort of a battle of the wits almost, with trying to save that fuel. It was a different style of racing than what you normally see, and I thought it put on a pretty good show. I don't want to do that anymore, but yeah, it was still pretty fun battling it out with you. Very rarely do I get to race Lucas and us run half throttle,
Because normally it's me running full throttle and you pass me 5 laps later.
I don't know. We haven't raced together in a while, so I'm not sure what it looks like. I'm just saying it's weird for both of us because I'm pretty aggressive. I'd say I would definitely teeter on the aggressive side. So it was weird for both of us to have to kind of pull the reins really tight to make sure that we made it on fuel, because we both could have easily just said, you know what, I'm going to run full out all the way and just pit twice and take just enough fuel to make it at the end. But we both committed to that fuel saving run, and I thought, if you're going to watch a broadcast, I thought that was pretty compelling live. I mean, knowing the outcome, not anymore, but I mean, during the race, I thought it was compelling enough for sure. So I think, for road course racing to have a 2-car battle all to go from, lap 1 all the way to 40 was pretty exciting. So, I mean, I definitely left with a high. We were walking the dogs, and I was yapping at my wife about it. She didn't care. But I was just like, well, I'll tell you what happened in this race, and so it was a lot of fun. So, so that's it as for that race. Was able to get the win, but if we look at the point standings here, David Duke is atop the point standing. Of course, Ben Stevens, who you mentioned earlier, has been really, really good in the season with 2 wins. Brett Bieber with his win early in the season. And it looks like that in this series, we got a lot of folks showing up winning races that haven't been here from the start. So, but right now, David Duke looks to be the man to beat. Chance Taylor, who y'all talked about earlier, he's plus 45. Brandon Wallace plus 30. So a lot of really good drivers here in this Sunday series. Anything left to add here before we cut it loose?
No, sir.
All right. Well, thank y'all so much for watching. We did a really good job of keeping it short tonight. Ended up at an hour and 50 minutes, one of the longest shows that we have done. So I don't know how we're gonna do it, guys. I don't know. It's gonna be me shutting the hell up is what it's gonna have to be. So I ask really long questions and I talk a lot, but I'm a solo broadcaster. I'm an only child. That's what happens. I grew up talking to myself. It kind of rolls over. Well, anyway, want to thank all of the sponsors, everybody for watching. If y'all stuck it out for an hour and 15 minutes, bless your heart. We definitely appreciate it if you go back and watch it. Hope you enjoy it. Thank you to Lucas for coming on tonight, even with your broke down car. He had somebody bring him home so he can be on the podcast. That's how dedicated he was. Only one voice crack tonight, so definite record there. Jake, glad to have you as always. Next week, I guess I can go ahead and announce it. I guess it doesn't really matter, but Jeremy Garner will be on next week, so that'll be one that people will be excited to see. But thank y'all so much for watching. Hope y'all enjoy it. We will see y'all next week as we'll wrap up that week. Only a few more weeks before the playoffs start, and then it's going to be really exciting all the way to the finish. So, all right, guys. Well, hope y'all have a wonderful night. Any closing thoughts from you guys?
Come back next week.
All right. There you have it.
I just got to thank the sponsors, Lincoln Tech, Haywood Brewery, Cruiser Classics, Nasty's Restaurants and Bar, Veterans for Life Foundation, Veterans for Life Racing, Invets, Jam Printing and Promotions, McConey Setup Shop, V-Speed, Nazareth 360, Indiana Department of Veterans Affairs, Alexander PC, SimMotion, Next Level Racing, iRacing, and Above the Yellow Line.
There you go. If you're in the Indianapolis area, in Hilliard, Ohio area, over the next few weeks, go check out Goat Locker and their setup. Go support them. Tell other people when they're standing around by that sim rig, tell them all about what you have fun doing over at Goat Locker. And it's definitely a great spot to be right now. Thanks to Pat and Jamie and everybody that puts in a lot of work over there at Goat Locker. And we'll see y'all next week.